Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am scrapbooking with this sketch. This is a Sketches in Time sketch. It has two smaller photos, some mixed media, some big embellishments, a large title, and then journaling around the edge. So we're going to mix it up. I'm going to have two larger photos, and this is a Sprite and a Coke bottle in Star Wars land in Disneyland. So I'm going to scrapbook these. I'm not going to cut them down. We're going to leave them this size. I've pulled out a Vicki Boutin color kaleidoscope paper. On this side, it's some dots, and on this side, it's some clouds and some words. Now, of course, because of the stars and it's Star Wars, I'm pulling out my favorite star stencil. This is the Scrapping Reflections All-Star stencil. I also have some kind of acrylic-y type clear stars that I picked up at Tuesday morning. These are Studio Calico. And then I also have the Nouveau expanding mousse in this blue color, which I think will go great with that. I pulled these two papers. I'm pretty sure they're from some Echo Park collection. I'm going to use the blue and the pink star bits here. This came in my SCT sampler for this month. And other than that, this one little die cut that says Picture Perfect came in the sampler too. But other than that, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but we'll figure that out. So let's see what I can do. Okay, spoiler alert, I forget all about that Picture Perfect die cut, and it's sitting on my desk right now, so that doesn't even make it. Now I am using this Nouveau expanding mousse, and this mousse is in the color Boatyard Blue, and I'm actually using a Nouveau spatula to put it through. At first I was going to use the brush, but ultimately I decided to try out the spatula. It's a little bit of a softer spatula. It's a silicone one, and I'm just trying to get the expanding mousse throughout the stars. Now, I do get some of the mousse underneath of the stencil, and I figure that's probably because, I'm going at it willy-nilly here. I'm not really being careful, and I'm kind of like smushing it really hard in there instead of taking my good sweet time to do, it properly. But whatever. I don't mind bleed through under my stencils most of the time. Sometimes I really want a crisp image, but in this case, I'm fine with it. So if you aren't fine with that, take your time when you are stenciling. If you're using this kind of spatula, don't just be like, shum, 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 shum. There was hand motions with that as well, along with those sounds. Just take your time and don't, willy-nilly all over the page, which is what I was doing. So I go ahead and I get that done, and then of course I'm going to close up that expanding mousse, and then it's so pretty. Even with the bleed through, with my craziness, it's pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my spatula here just on some scrap pieces of paper, and then I go wash the spatula and the stencil later after I'm finished with the layout. I try to wash my hands too, but they're still blue. They're still blue. So this is an expanding mousse. So what that means is with this mousse, if you add a heat tool to it, it gives you a textured, kind of distressed 3D effect. And you can kind of see it in the video where it kind of darkens up. And I'm just using my heat gun and going over every single star just to give it that little bit of extra oomph. And it's not necessarily, I wasn't necessarily doing this for the 3D effect. I was more doing it so that it would dry so I could just go ahead and create over top of it. Because I know that I'm playing with some alcohol inks here shortly, and I didn't want that to affect my layout in any way. So I wanted to make sure that it was dry, and using the heat gun, that's going to dry it all up real nice. So now I have that all set, and I'm going to mat the photos. So these are 4x6 photos, and I just trim them down to 5 3/4. I leave it at 4 inches, and then I'm just going to mat it here on the 6x6 paper. Basically, you don't even see the stars anymore because my photo mat is a thinner photo mat. If I would have cut the photo down to 5.5, you would have seen much more around the edges of the photo. But honestly, you guys, like that doesn't bother me. If you see the little pieces of the stars and you can tell that it's a star, more power to you. If you can't, I'm not worried. And that's just because the colors coordinate quite well. There is the pink down here in the bottom, and then of course the blue is all over the page. I am going to use some fun foam, and I'm just going to I'm just going to pop both of the photos on top of the fun foam and make sure that it kind of gets in there where the stars are. So this is where I'm trying out the picture perfect. At first I was like, we'll put it down here, and I was like, no, let's put it up here. And then I put it to the side, and it gets pushed off my mat, and I don't even realize it's not there until I get finished with the layout. And now there's really like no reason to put it on there the way I've decorated the layout. So I have these, they're almost an acetate. They're like a little plasticky, they're just a little plasticky star. I don't know if they are, maybe they're a mylar, a thin mylar. But anyway, I'm just going to figure out where they're going to go on top of the layout, and then I'm going to get my alcohol inks out and do some fun things with them. Now, if you've never played with alcohol inks, it's not something that you need to go out and buy, but if you have alcohol inks, this is something you can do with mylar, with acrylic, with acetate, any of those hard surfaces you can adjust. So I am using my media mat here, and honestly, the media mat has seen better days. It's got holes in it. It's pretty trashed. I need to get a new one. But what I'm doing is putting some of the alcohol ink on my alcohol ink blending tool. And then I also used some of the alcohol ink blending solution. And what that does is it really stretches your alcohol inks a little bit further. So I'm doing it with this one color. This is a Bria Reese. I got it on clearance at Hobby Lobby. They were clearancing them out, and I was like, what the heck? I love alcohol inks, so let's get them. I say I love them, but I don't use them enough. I need to start using them. So then I grab a secondary color, and this is a turquoise color, and I just go ahead and tap that onto my stars as well. So what that is going to do is kind of give my stars a two-toned look. It's going to give both of those different colors on top of the stars. And I'm going to set them aside to dry. They don't completely dry, and then I get blue alcohol ink all over my fingers, and I'm either Cookie Monster or a Smurf. I haven't figured that out exactly yet. But what I am going to do, so I don't lose the alcohol ink that is on that felt pad, I grab my art journal and I'm just stamping it onto a blank page. And I'm kind of turning my my blender around different ways, and then it's going to be saturated here at the bottom, but up at the top where I'm starting to run out of the alcohol ink, it's just going to be dotted. So I just make sure to dot the entire area, and then I also dot around the edges, and this is what this is going to do is just kind of give me like a base for an art journal page. I did art journal pretty regularly. I haven't art journaled regularly in a while. I do things like this where I put extra media down into it so that I have the backgrounds ready to go. But I haven't art journaled in a while, and I'm starting to feel the need again. So through the camera, you can see I just got the blue ink on my fingers. Through the camera, this looks very pinky and purpley, but it's not. I promise you guys, it is blue. So now what I need to do is put on a title while those stars are drying just a little bit more. So I grab this blue thicker, and this is from Indigo and Ivy, which was an absolute beautiful collection. Probably one of my favorite pretty collections, because they're, you know what, I love lots of papers, okay? And there are very few collections where I love all the papers in them. And Indigo and Ivy, even though it had butterflies in it, you guys, was one of my favorite paper collections. It was just beautiful. So I take a Q because I don't have any more O's, and I just trim out the little bits that make it into a Q. And then I'm going to spell out Soda Wars. And it's kind of wow to me, the letters that I run out of. Like, I ran out of O's before I ran out of A's. Like, I had enough to do 2 A's. So that's kind of crazy to me. So I just spell out Soda Wars. I feel like the blue is a good coordinating match. And it's Soda Wars, not that Coke versus Sprite or anything like that, but it's Star Wars soda, so hence the play on words Soda Wars. So now I am going to figure out where these hearts are going to go. These are not hearts. Oh my goodness, you guys. These are not hearts. I'm going to figure out where these stars are going to go. And I'm just using my ATG to place them down. And the purple is not there. In real life, the purple is not there. It's just the glare from the lights that I have over top of my desk. So I'm just going to go ahead and place these around the page using my ATG. And I know in the sketch, the majority of them are over here to the left-hand side, but the photos are a lot smaller in the sketch, and my photos are a lot larger. Also, my title is definitely smaller than in the sketch, and I'm okay with that as well. So I have this silver star confetti from Close to My Heart, and I decide, you know what, I'm just going to do some lines with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and put the stars on here. I'm going to press them down and then see how that turns out because I want a little bit more sparkle. It feels very monochromatic, which is good. That's the look I was going for, but I'm like, I need a little bit of excitement. So I really like that, you guys. Like, I just really like that. So I decide, instead of drawing a kind of like liney doodly border around the edge of my layout, what I'm going to do is glue around the edge of the layout, and then I'm going to use these confetti stars, and that is what I'm going to do. So I pull it off to the side so you don't have to see me do that, but there it is, and I love how this turned out. It gives you a great amount of sparkle and shine, and it just, it makes my heart happy. So there it is, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again real soon for another video.